Remember, they're changing my voice. We're talking about romantic injustice. Okay, we're talking about something the right wing is never honest about. The right wing is perhaps the more obviously rapist ring, right? Wing. The words racist and rapist are connected. It is impossible to be a racist, somebody who holds race against someone without a morally precise reason. And politics, okay, as you know them, do not allow for morally precise reasons. So the far right is racist and rapists, etc. Okay. For example, if someone was to hold down a little girl while she's being raped, you would say, hey, you're a fucking rapist. Like if somebody was to try to turn people gay so they could have the advantage when getting women, you'd say, hey, it's gay to turn people gay. So again, why would you say it? Because that's the case. Because it's fucking despicable. Because it's stupid, right? It's stupid to pretend that it's not gay to go along with the system that is trying to make people gay. Pretty straightforward, okay? Pretty straightforward intelligence test. So we see that it is a system of cultures where people often say they're just doing their job. You say, hey, they're making them do it, or whatever, okay? And it is a system of cultures that are emasculating those people who are part of those cultures as they don't man up, right? Virtue means man, and push for romantic justice. Now, for those who are a little confused about why that is, let me put it another way, okay? It is a white supremacist state that teaches why not to be a white supremacist, okay, and why not to go along with a white supremacist state. They don't teach in a way that's perfect, but they teach it far more than well enough to make it clear to you beyond a reasonable doubt that anyone with a speck of decency or greater would rather die and have their family be killed than go along with the white supremacist state, especially in regards to romantic injustice. Because how are families forged in America and every nation in the world? They're forged through a process of romantic injustice, which is rapist run. Racist state, rapist state. Again, the word racist defaults with rapist. If you are racist, you're part of the process of rape by deception, rape by coercion, and it's connected to the forcible rapes that occur, rape using physical force. There's no other way to look at it. You're teaching things in a way that causes women to be deceived into sleeping with people they otherwise wouldn't be if they weren't deceived. Okay, racists are pieces of shit. Scientific racists like eugenicists, corporate eugenicists, are calculating rapists. And you see all the signs there, even if you didn't think of it that way before. Certainly you understand what sexual harassment is. Okay, what blackmail is, sexual blackmail, and how corporations are very much involved in these things. If you didn't know that, my goodness, that's pretty silly, right? So never before in history was the test of life so obvious, so straightforward. It's an information age. Anyone with a speck of decency or greater would rally to me rather than conform to the state. Pretty straightforward. So this video is the labyrinth of potential romantic relations. That's what it's about. It is a labyrinth of potential romantic relations. Right? How do you find someone who is a suitable helper? Like it says in Genesis, and we'll get to that, where it says, God says, it's not good for him to be alone. Let us make him a suitable helper. The agnostic, who in a sense is playing God, when he removes God from his life, he's saying, okay, he's the judge and not God, not the scale that God has given. Okay? He also must see that it's not good for someone to be alone, that he means to make a society and try to impress upon people the importance of not shunning the righteous guy. Okay, because it's not good for him to be alone. Well, if it's a bad guy, then let the bad happen to the bad guy. But don't let the bad happen to the good guy. And often females themselves will say things like, what was I thinking? They threw a good guy under the bus to date a bad guy, and they got their just recompense for their iniquities. For example, we need to go places people don't want to go. The truth will set you free. When a female gets raped by some piece of shit on a date, after she shuns the top martial arts ever, okay, that rapist did not deserve to rape her and should go to prison. But that female was a dumb bitch that had it coming. And to remove the second part is just as detestable as to remove the first part. You think it's okay to break the most righteous person's that ever lives heart, but you don't think it's okay for that bitch to have bad things happen to her? What kind of a scale is that? As the Bible says, the Lord detests dishonest scales, and the agnostic, someone who doesn't know whether or not there's a God, must also detest dishonest scales, or he's not just an agnostic idiot, he's an extreme and complete idiot. All right. So we see with the words potential, right? Potent and potential. You see how there's root words. No matter how you slice it, wordplay is a part of language, right? There's a Latin root, right? And there's root words that have things added to them, right? Suffixes and so on and so forth, whatever the fuck it's called. Okay, potent and potential. And intent and intensity, right? What is the intention of the person with intensity? What is the intention when their brain goes into intensity? Is it reinforcing a rape called cis? Fuck you! I want the white man to have the upper hand, even though I'm just middle class. I mean, what is their intention? Fuck you, I'm a cop and I'm a control freak. I'm a military control freak and I'm acting up because you won't do the pedophile's bidding and it's my job to uphold it, right? You call that respectable? You call that divine intention? You call that one nation under God? Of course it's not. And people should get shot for even saying it. For even thinking about saying it, they should be severely flogged. For actually saying it, they should be executed on the spot. And they say, well, maybe they're not pedophiles. You see how it obstructs justice. My video literally gets delayed, right? Gang, stall, king. Delay, lay, and delay. Lady, right? Lady, delay, gang, stalking. So now I got to explain to you why it's a pedophile state. In a society where 1 in 4 little girls are sexually molested before the age of 18, for people to deny that the people in charge are sexually immoral, okay, and that they're on the level of pedophiles, you may as well call them child molesters. They should get slapped across their face. And they should get fined for not doing their research, especially if they're over the age of, say, 25. We'll call it 30. For not doing enough research to figure out that there's a huge child molestation problem in society, not just the churches and the Boy Scouts, not just people's stepfathers molesting them, a huge problem, okay? And that means that it's a child molester state, okay? Can you imagine the most villages in world history, you think they had a child molester problem where 1 in 4 kids were sexually molested? That's fucking outrageous. That's something that's distinct to the West. And when they spread across the world, they spread it across the world. So it might have come from the Middle East at one point, but at some point it hit the West. And then it spread like wildfire across the world because of the Western colonialism. Okay, so it's a child molester culture. Is it, you think it just happens in America? It doesn't happen in Europe? You think it happened in tribes before the white man came to the same degree? No. The mass murder and the modern warfare that occurred happened after the white man. The modern drug use that went through the roof happened after the white man. The child molestation and the mass rape happened after the white man. Yes, some of these things happened to some degree before, but not to the same level. It's like the Second Congolese War in Africa. 4 million people died. Never was there a tribal war in Africa before the white man came that 4 million people died and countless women were raped. That is distinct. A distinct characteristic of Western culture that has infected the other cultures of the world, why they insist that you look up to them, and that is satanic to a T. People should be shot for suggesting otherwise, because the evidence is clear. Point number 1. Every female knows that it is wrong to date the bad guy and hurt the good guy. So you have to hold their hands through it. People should be flogged for the fact that they have to hold their hands through it. Every attractive female should be flogged thoroughly. Every female, especially an attractive female, because as guys try to talk to them all the time, they're forced to reflect on what has happened and why they think it's unfair to some degree, right? So every female knows that it is wrong to date the bad guy and hurt the good guy. So anytime they do, it is clear cut that they should be punished for it. Now, obviously, some white supremacists go, I see it the same way. No, because you're a bad guy. Every other guy is a bad guy. And I go on and on. It's a long story why that is, and I've proven it 1,000,000 times over in thousands of videos. It has to do with their lack of moral precision and their conformity, for one. Okay, but I want to stick to the topic on this video. Okay, they're cheating me out of my right to leave, and go on and on about the reasons why that is. But let's go to the next. If you have any questions about it, put in the comments. All right, let's go to the next. Give me the next point. 2, the hookup game. Okay, why not? Why didn't any females try to find attractive females for me? They say this guy has a problem. Those who've been watching my videos for YUC for years and years. Why don't these people say, hey, you know what? We're going to help you find an attractive female. When I first started talking to this nice female in Santa Cruz, she tried to help me find attractive females. There's one chick called Annabelle who was a gang stalker, and I have on record admitting she's a gang stalker. She went through the motions of trying to find attractive females, trying to get me to settle and catfish me and so on and so forth. And I had that on record going back to like 2015 or so. Okay, so these people said, hey, you know what? When you come across someone like this, the right thing to do is to either date him if you're attractive and say, hey, he's the most righteous guy I've ever seen, and whether or not I'm attracted to him, I should give him the pussy on this strength, right? You say, that's not how the holy man would talk. Oh boy, that's a story for another day. That's actually what inspired me to make this video, was the unfairness of them saying, wait till you're married to have sex as a white supremacist Catholic institution or Protestant one, okay, or anyone else saying it, in a society where it's hard for a black person to get on his feet enough to afford to be married. Women are gold diggers, and marriage costs money, and it suggests that you've planned your life together, you're trying to buy a home, and so on and so forth. It takes quite a bit. It's rare you see an attractive female get married to a guy who doesn't have a life plan for them. Engagement rings cost money, and money is the root of all evil. So it is more wrong to teach to wait till marriage in a society where money determines who gets married, and money is the root of all evil, and it takes being evil to get money. Basically, very few people who aren't evil have enough money to get married. Generally speaking, it's the general rule of thumb. Very few women don't require a certain amount of money before they decide to get married. You look at Islam, for example. They say, hey, you know, before you get married, you sit down and you look at your finances, you look at the situation, and you ask yourself if you're a good fit for each other. This is something pervasive. I'm sure the Jews do the same thing, and so on and so forth. Hindus with their caste system, right? It is sickening. It is sickening and an extreme crime against God and romance and man to insist that people wait till they're married, or to teach that at this time. You can teach them to abstain from sex if you do it in a way that's fair. You can teach them that no one should be having sex outside the divine order. That's fair. But to just leave it at wait till marriage to only the lowest forms of life, those who suck the devil off literally and otherwise, okay, literally and figuratively, in order to be financially stable, choir boys bending over, keeping their mouths shut, all kinds of corporate filth, just the lowest forms of white racist trash and token minority filth is all we ever see get money. A gangster might get money for a while, and he gets arrested. He tries to get married, buy a house, the IRS is going to come after him, done. You see what I'm saying? Only the lowest forms of filth get money in this fucking society, on this planet, I'd venture to say. So it is pathetic that they make that argument. Especially if a female were to say, well, you're supposed to wait. Why would I have to wait to get married? And all the guys you fucked, you didn't give them that argument. Because I'm doing the right thing? Okay? So you start there. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's also consider those of you who say, well, you're a holy man. Well, let's consider before, you know, for those people who didn't know, some people I just start talking to on the internet. You think they default with, well, you're a holy man, claims to be Christ, and da-da-da-da-da. No, they don't default with that. And they still know that I'm a righteous guy. They see the martial art gi and the exact posture and the exact arguments that I'm making. They say, you know, other than my Christ argument, and they still come to the conclusion they should sleep with other scoundrels and not me. Pretty straightforward. Can you imagine some racist piece of shit or some token minority bitch he has on a leash saying, well, that's swell, brother. You're just mad because you can't get laid. Maybe if you sucked the token minority dick, rather, then fucking magically you'd find your way to some decent pussy, huh? Am I right, guys? And act like a fucking Urkel-ass bitch. Act like a Will Smith punk. A Chris Rock Nancy boy coward. Act like some comedian sissy. Act like some businessman sold his own race, sold his own family, sold his own soul type of bitch. Raising their children to do the same thing, type of a punk-ass pushover, fair-weather, fairy-ass puss. Think about it.